I was thinking about, doing a reaction to Corey's or Jack's or, Charlie's video discussing this matter, but I think given everything that's happened to not only us, but the people we know over the last 4 to 5 months, it's just been insane with YouTube's community guidelines system. And we've gone to war with YouTube over the copyright claiming system. That's still a problem. It's not as bad, but it still can be an issue. There are issues that I have with it, and I can discuss that, but that's a whole other video. But the amount of community guideline strikes that were handed out to Chad and Nikki alone baffled me. And it made me completely just, like, it put me over the moon in terms of just, how in the heck is this possible? Why? Why are they getting flagged when everyone else, all these other channels, are not only reacting to these, but have the exact same thing in there? As a matter of fact, in some videos, the stuff that Chad and Nikki got flagged for during their video was in the first 15 minutes, or the first 15 seconds of the video. That's usually when YouTube is like got a microscope out and they're just looking for problems and issues within the first 30 seconds. And if there's something really bad happening within the first 30 seconds, then usually they flag the video, or they age gate the video. It just depends. But the fact that these videos were out there and all of them were still up, none of them had community guideline strikes. None of them were age-gated either. I looked. Every single one of them were still up. And some of the ones on Chad and Nikki's channel are still age-gated to this day. And it's not going to change. And I don't understand why. Because, again, YouTube, where it's bots running all this, it's that there are very few human beings involved in the chain of command when it comes to community guideline strikes and everything like that on YouTube. And I don't know what to think about it half the time, because I just don't understand why YouTube is part of Google, and Google is a $1 trillion company. Not only that, a multi-trillion-dollar company. I think they're one of the only companies that's worth about $2 trillion right now. And they can't take a microcosm amount of that budget that they have and dedicate, at least an X amount of employees to take care of the top few thousand YouTubers. Because I know Corey's got over 14 million subs. I know that Jack has over 28 million. I know Mark has over 30. And the fact that they're dealing with this stuff, and it's something that, YouTube basically just has to deal with their system and be like, oh, the system says it's wrong. So, we're gonna uphold it because it's what the system says is wrong. And then enough backlash comes in, they're like, oh, so we found out that we're actually gonna undo this, so that should make you happy. And then it's just like, yeah, but that's the thing. Even though you resolve the issue for the one issue now, that doesn't resolve it for the future hundreds, if not thousands, of other issues that'll rise up if this isn't fixed. Nothing, again, I don't understand why it is the way that it is when it could be so much better. I mean, YouTube says they have the best minds working on content creation and video creation and all that, but instead you try and reach somebody half the time and nothing comes through. I know that it was a Corridor Digital or Corridor Crew, one of my favorite YouTube creators out there. They had their channel hacked, and someone was posting scam stuff on there, and because of the amount of claims against it, their channel was just deleted. I'm not talking taken down temporarily. I'm talking gone. Did you know about that? Yeah, Corridor Crew. We've watched some of their videos in the past, and I love that crew so much. I love their work. And just the fact that, their channel was taken down completely. And YouTube's system took forever to get it back up. This is a channel that's got over 5 million subs and rakes in tens of millions of views a month. And
So it's not just small people that they're being unfair to.
Yeah, it's
so I was previously wondering if it was just Chad and Nikki's channel because they're a smaller channel, but it's happening to big people too.
It is. I mean, I'm looking at Corey with this happening to him, getting age gated, and I know it's not a community guideline strike. Community guideline strike is even worse than an age gate. An age gate, that means Corey's not able to monetize his video on a grander scale, and a lot of his subscribers are over the age of 18. But once it's over once you're only able to market to that limits the amount of ads that you can put on your video. Period. And basically, it screws you over out of making any revenue off that. And I know for Corey, who again has over 14 million subs, he basically he's one of the biggest creators on this platform, and in terms of gaming, he's a lot of people's go-to.
I'm hoping he's in a position to finally hold YouTube accountable to an extent for some of their shitty practices.
Well, again, I mean, he given his position, he's in a greater position of privilege to take care of that than others. I mean,
I saw his comment, his comment he pinned on his video.
Yeah.
He's like, of course this video is immediately flagged for ad suitability. I wonder why. Could it be that it, surely it isn't because it's YouTube
wanted to be shown in a poor light. Yeah.
It's like, they won't even let you, air grievances with the way they're doing things. Like, there's something totalitarian and fucked about their system.
Yes, there is. And I hate that, again...
Supposedly it's real people that review your stuff when you send them for an appeal. Yeah, I don't believe that.
I'd throw the bullshit flag 100 times on that. I guarantee you there is not a real especially, for Corey's video, maybe. But for videos like Chad and Nikki, who are, not on the same level as creators like this, I guarantee you that there is not a human within 100 miles of the decision making when it comes to their videos.
Probably.
And
I just think it's absurd to put this kind of stuff in the hands of robots in the first place. Like, expecting a robot to be able to scan a video and determine there's something wrong with that video is just absurd to me.
Well, the channel 1791L pointed out a long time ago that there was a solution. It was this very smart algorithmic learning program, but the problem was the person who owned it refused to let Google have it, and thus Google tried to invent their own. And I think we've all seen the outcome of that.
They didn't do a good job.
No, they did not.
They did a very bad job.
Yes, 100%. And I would say that the community guidelines stuff, this is, if in a perfect system, there's no such thing as a perfect system, but in a better system, I should say, what YouTube needs to do is, if there's a section of the video that there's something offensive in it that violates community guidelines, YouTube needs to give you an X amount of time to delete that section out of your video. The video editor is very simple to do that. I've done that. I've had to edit out parts of the video after I've posted it, and it's worked fine. And who's to say that YouTube's community guidelines bot can't be like the copyright guidelines bot and can scan the video and be like, oh, that part's gone now, so the problem's solved. Why can't it do that? I mean, if you all can have an algorithmic learning machine that can learn the rhythms and beats and sounds of music and everything, then y'all should be able to visually tell what is going on and if something is offensive. I mean,
stop threatening people's livelihoods and give people a chance to fix what you don't like.
Yeah. And also, YouTube, wouldn't that mean that you'd just be able to make more money? You would be able to make more money off of these people if their videos are removed from
more content up with more advertisements that you can take a slice out of.
Yes. I mean,
it makes sense to me.
Isn't that better for everybody? Isn't that better for you to basically just be like, oh, yeah, so you're able to, take that part of the video out, if we find it violates community guidelines. And then your video is able to be monetized again. And what's wrong with that? I mean, it shouldn't be rocket science, but these people are making it to where it's not only rocket science, but It's basically like string theory. They're making it more difficult than it has to be. I don't understand that. I don't like posting videos like this because I really think that, you know, I don't feel like we have enough of a position of privilege on this platform to really say anything that'll mean anything or make any impact. You know, the fact that Corey is able to from his position, I mean, I'm glad that he's calling it out. I know Jack's calling it out. I know Charlie's calling it out.
I think the most important thing is to say that even though we're small, we still back Corey. Like, and we hope that those up high can finally get across what we've hoped to get across for a while.
Yeah, a better system for a better YouTube.
To, like, finally show everyone that, you know, YouTube needs to fix itself in some way.
Yes.
Like, in a lot of ways. Like, but particularly with this guidelines bullshit.
Yes. I don't know what else to say at this point, y'all. This has been this whole ordeal that Corey's going through is something I know he'll eventually get over, and he'll be able to keep making videos. But keep in mind that there are smaller channels out there that do not have the assets under them like Corey and all these other channels have, that can't fight back and really have no choice but to bite the bullet and just lose their livelihood. And I love Chad and Nikki to death. I mean, they're two of my best friends. And I would say that if we're able to make this platform better for them and better for future creators and future, you know, people who are new on this platform 100%, and we're able to make it easier for them, then I think that's perfect. I think that's the ideal way to go. But until YouTube gets their head out of their ass, I don't think that's ever going to change. Either way, yeah, so I know this isn't a reaction to, you know, because I know some of us out there would expect us to do a reaction to this, but we've all already seen enough about this, and I couldn't help myself. I watched a bit of Jack's video on it, and I know Nick said that he watched Corey's video on it.
I watched Corey's and Jack's.
So. Okay. And I also watched Charlie's as well, so I know basically, you know, what all is going to be said in the video. So anyway, I think that's going to do it. So until next time, everybody, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
We'll see you later, everyone. Peace.